What's up guys, Pete here and welcome back to another knife review. Today on the table we have the Kizer Begleiter, not really sure how to pronounce it. It is German, so if you know how to pronounce it, sorry about that, I probably butchered it a good bit. It's German for companion, which I think is a fairly apt name for this little knife. As always, let me get into the specs real quick before I get into the nitty gritty of my review. Overall length is 8 and an eighth, I think, somewhere around there overall. The blade length is 3.5 inches long. It is VG10. It is a drop point blade, and it is full flat ground. As you can see, Kizer, again, marking it up quite a bit with a couple different logos and little markings here. You got Kizer VG10, you've got the model number down here. Then on the reverse, you have the name, the Begleiter, not sure, and whatever AZO means on the top there. It has a titanium coating, whatever that means. This is a nice gray color to it, but I'm not a huge fan of coatings on blades. I feel like they look kind of meh when they get scratched up, but that's just me personally. It is full flat ground, which has its pros and cons. We'll get into that later. I can vouch for the VG10, having tried to sharpen it a couple of times. It is a pain in the ass. They did a good job with the heat treat on that, nice and hard. The handle is about 4.5 inches, a little bit over that. I have the green G10 here, but they also have a black G10 as well. As you can see, the pivot here has a very nice little, I guess it's just heat blued, I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure it is stainless steel, however. A little ring around the pivot, and that is on both sides, which is a nice little touch, nice little aesthetic there. It is currently set up for a right side tip-up carry. It is reversible right or left side tip-up carry, but it is not reversible for tip-down carry, unfortunately. It does have a fairly nice lanyard hole here, almost a lanyard slot, nice and open there. And it does flow nicely with this little curve in the back here. Again, I don't put lanyards on my knives, but it's nice to have the option for those of you that do. Overall, it's a fairly slender knife. That's kind of the vibe they were going for here. As you can see, the inside here, it's got stainless steel liners. It is partially skeletonized, as you can see with those cutouts, which is a nice touch. It means that it's going to be a little bit lighter weight than it would traditionally be. It is a liner lock knife, as you can see here. Never had any issues with the lockup. It is fairly secure. It runs on phosphor bronze bushings, so no bearings here, but it's still fairly smooth. It has ambidextrous thumb studs at the top here, which are very nice. Never had any issues with those. No real learning curve. They're pretty much set up where they need to be for quick, easy access. It does have two nice standoffs in the back here, which is a nice touch as opposed to just a standard backspacer. I prefer the flow-through design that it gives. It's just a better aesthetic in my opinion, so it's a little more attractive of a knife because of that. And it does kind of flow with the overall theme too of just being sleek, slender, and kind of lightweight, which I do like. The whole knife is just under 4 ounces, I believe. Now, before I get into the pros and cons, I just want to clarify a little bit. I have not carried this knife all that much, unfortunately, which means that take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I don't have too much experience with this knife yet, so your mileage may vary. If you use this knife for longer, you might get more used to some of these little things, but it is what it is. So first off, pros, I do like how slender it is. I think that's really nice. I don't like big, hefty knives, so I think this would be a nice thing for an EDC just because it is kind of lightweight, kind of slender, but it's still got a nice, fairly long blade, so it's functional. You still have that usage without it getting in the way and being really bulky in your pocket, which is pretty nice. I do also like the overall aesthetic. I think it is very attractive. I think they did a very good job with that. I do prefer the one with black G10. Mine is green, but I still like the way this looks overall. And I will say the choice to go with the titanium gray coating on the blade, it does fit the overall aesthetic. It's just that I personally don't like coatings on my blades because when you get scratches in your blade, which you will if you're using it, I feel like it shows it a bit more than if you had, just a plain satin or stonewash tumbled finish or whatever. But I do think it fits the aesthetic well and is fairly good looking because of that. I also like the fact that it is pretty much completely ambidextrous. You do have ambidextrous thumb studs, and you can reverse for left or right side tip-up carry, which is a nice touch. My one complaint with that, though, which gets into the cons here, for it to be reversible, you have to have this extra little screw hole here, which unfortunately just kind of just doesn't look too good. I don't know if I'd prefer if there was an extra screw in there just as a placeholder, just so it looked a little more symmetrical. I don't know, just kind of stands out and bugs me a little bit. Not a huge grievance, just a small aesthetic issue. The only other problem that I really have with this knife is that it rides a bit high in your pocket. You get quite a bit sticking out of the end of your pocket here, about that much. Not, a terrible thing. It's just that I personally prefer, deep carry pocket clips. That's just me, though. Nothing really wrong with that. It's just a bit of a grievance that I have with it. But perhaps the best selling point of this whole knife is that it only costs about $50. I want to say it's like 55, somewhere around there on Blade HQ, and I'm sure there are sales occasionally. This is part of Kizer's Vanguard series, which I believe is their more budget-oriented line, but you're still getting fairly good materials. You're getting G10, and then, you're getting VG10 blade steel and G10 for the handles, which it's a very nice blade steel and it's hardened properly. And then G10 is a very nice handle material aesthetically and functionally. You've got great traction here. So, I mean, for $50, $55 in that range, it's a fairly nice offering from Kizer. Again, it is a slightly more budget-oriented knife, so it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. You are running on bushings as opposed to bearings, but it still flies out nice and easy. No real issue there. It's aesthetically very pleasing. Again, just a few minor things like that pocket clip not being great and this little hole being a little, unattractive. But overall, I think it's a very good knife. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, it hasn't gotten to the normal rotation just because I have a lot of other knives I've been trying out lately, but I still think it's a very nice little EDC knife. I do like how sleek and slender it is, and I think that is one of the major selling points of it. But overall, that covers everything I wanted to talk about. Very nice little knife, 7 out of 10. I definitely recommend it if you wanted to give it a try, and for the price, you really can't go wrong, plus holds its value pretty well, so if you ever wanted to resell it down the line, you could certainly do so. But as always, guys, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please, like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have any questions regarding this knife or anything else on this channel. And as always, guys, keep your edges sharp and your mind sharper, and I'll see you in the next one.